We will move on to the superintendent's recommendations and reports. Mr. Smith?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Birdie. At this time, I would like to ask Mr. Martin to cover the items listed under Personnel Professional.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Mr. Birding and members of the board, several items this evening under Personnel Professional. Item number 1, resignations, letters A through D. I will mention that letter C is Connie Lugers. She's currently a first grade teacher at Compass. She's taught in the district for 25 years. Most of those years, I believe she was a kindergarten teacher. And so she will be greatly missed. And also Leslie Shannon is item D. She's an intervention specialist at our freshman school. She's spent 24 total years in education, and 23 of those have been here in Fairfield. So we appreciate all that she's done as well. Item number 2, extracurricular resignations for 2021, letters A and B. Item 3, unpaid leaves of absence, letter A. Item 4, employment, letter A, extracurriculars for the 2021 school year. Item B, home instructors for the 2021 school year. Item C, substitute teachers for the 2021 school year. And item D, volunteers for the current school year. That concludes the items I have this evening under Personnel Professional.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. At this time, I will entertain a motion to approve those recommendations.
So moved.
Second.
I heard Mr. Clark and Mrs. Gundrum. Any questions or comments from the board? Hey, Mrs. Lame, you call the roll, please.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Mrs. Gundrum?
Yes.
Mrs. Shorter?
Yes.
Mr. Begley?
yes,
Mr. Birding?
Yes, motion passes.
Mr. Birdie, members of the board, I have several items for your consideration under Personnel Support. Letter B. Number 1, resignations, letters A through B. Number 2, unpaid leave of absence, letters A through D. And number 3, employment, letters A through H. I would like to draw your attention to letter F. Lance Perry is being recommended this evening to be the Director of Business Operations, effective July 1. And Mr. Perry has joined us this evening and is out there, so I'd like to introduce him and recognize him and draw your attention to that recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. At this time, I will entertain a motion to accept those recommendations.
So moved.
Second.
I heard Mrs. Shorter and Mr. Clark. Any questions or comments from the board? My only comment would be, Mr. Perry, I just want to caution you, this is not the typical length of a board meeting. They're usually much longer than this. So when you join our staff, be prepared. We have nice, comfortable chairs. Thank you to Mr. Clemens for that recommendation. So, all right, Mrs. Lame, you call the roll, please.
Mrs. Shorter?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Mrs. Gundrum?
Yes.
Mr. Begley?
yes,
Mr. Birding?
Yes, motion passes. Welcome, Mr. Perry.